Welcome. This video instruction is going to cover extracting or copying a parcel fabric. We're actually going to extract a couple townships out of this Wyoming demo parcel fabric so that we can utilize it just for a training database potentially. And then in a following video, we will publish that same data. The publishing will be the same way you would publish an entire state. We're just going to use this smaller database because it should take less time, and I should be able to represent it in the video of the publishing. So the first thing we're going to do is we have this demo database. We're going to extract these two townships. I'm going to go ahead and start an editing session. And the first thing we need to do is we need to come over to Catalog. You can see up here at Home, we have our Export Publish GDB, which is the GDB I copied from the demo data, and the MXD that I changed the name on also for this process. To extract or copy a parcel fabric, you need to create a new database. So we're going to click here, right click on Home, we go to New, and then we have File Geodatabase. So we click on that. So now we have a new file geodatabase. Okay, we probably don't want to call it new file geodatabase, so I'm going to probably just name this as export for this exercise. And now we have this export GDB. Now the next thing we need to do is we want to be sure that we get the same schema from the parent parcel fabric to carry over into our child parcel fabric. So what we're going to do there is click on this original database again. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to show you a little something here. You can see where we have all the pull downs for our Wyoming parcel fabric demo data and the Wyoming, and you can see all our layers and everything there. This is what we want to carry over into our new exported data. As you can see, we have no expansion on the database we just created. So we're going to go back here, right click, and we're going to go to Export, and then we're going to XML Workspace Document. This will be the schema. Now we get this next window, and it says Data or Schema Only. We want Schema Only. And where do we want it to go? Well, I'm going to send it to where the folder that I have the rest of this data in, which is not documents. We're going to go this PC, and I want to go to Drive E, Training Modules. I have it under Drafts, I have it under Copy, and then I have it here. So the file name we're going to call this, we're going to call it export just for this exercise. In the future, you may want to name this something that refers like the township and range, or the amount of township and ranges, or it's for a special project, or it's for a right-of-way or a permitting, and you're just extracting this smaller database from your parcel fabric after you did some editing possibly to extract it, then publish it to a CAD NSDI to pass on to another end user. Okay, we're going to say Save, and then Next. And hopefully we don't come across any errors. If there are any errors, then they would be showing up red. None being seen, I'm going to click Finish. And now I'm going to go ahead and pull up my File Explorer. And now you can see we have this XML document export under where I have all the rest of my data. So let's shrink this down. So the next thing we want to do is come back to Catalog, come right click on our new database, Export, and we want to import an XML Workspace document. We want the schema only. We go to the location where we have it. Chances are it's going to take you right there to the spot because you drove to the spot of where you wanted to save it. So chances are it will open up right where you had saved it. If not, then you would just have to browse till you get to it. So I have my XML right here. Click on it. I say Open, and then I say Next. Now I should have updated it. I don't see any red errors. So I say Finish. And what it is doing, it is moving that schema into my new database. So now I come to my new database of export. And I see now I have a pull down. I see I have staging. I have Wyoming Parcel Fabric, and I have my layers and items as I had in my parent. So we can close this back down. And the next thing we need to do, we need to make a selection of what we want to copy into this new smaller geodatabase or our exported geodatabase. So we're going to come over here. There's several ways you can do this. We can select by location, various means. I find it's just easiest under selection and selection options that select features partially or completely within the box or graphics. I found even using these other ones, we'll probably have to do some cleanup once we do export it. Because once we do a window to select, we'll get adjoining polygons that probably aren't necessary for what we want. It's an easy cleanup once you have it exported. You just open it up and you go in, do an edit session, and delete the polygons that you do not want. Okay, the next thing we need to do is go to our selection. Now we want everything in our selection that we're going to use. Now we can see here not selectable, and you see these grayed out, they aren't turned on. So we want to go back to our table of contents and make sure we turn everything on. Now if some of it isn't going to display, you may need to go to Properties, go to General, and I'll just generally change this to, say, 1 to 300,000. Apply, OK. Line points. Same thing. All right. Now, if we zoom in a little closer, see our points are showing up now. I want to go back to my last view, and the points are there. Sometimes you may need to refresh your screen, basically just making a change in your screen and it will refresh. We have first divisions turned on. In this case, in Wyoming, they do have separated rights. I do not believe there are any within the area we are concerned with, but we're going to go ahead and turn it on in case there's something we're missing. So we go back, get our selection tool. Well, first we come back here and make sure we turn everything on for selection. We aren't concerned about tax lines. So we have everything turned on. So we come to our selection. Now we want this township, 26 North 113 and 26 North 112. So to get that, due to the projection and the slight distortion, due to its falling further west outside the UTM zone, is why it's got a bit more of a canter or slant to it. I windowed it. It'll take a second or two to process to get my selection, and now everything is selection. So everything that I want to copy and a little bit more is selected. So now I come to my ARC toolbox. Open my ARC toolbox. It's already still open under Parcel Fabric Tools. Come to Parcel Features. Come to Copy Parcel Fabric. So I double click and I get the next window. Here all you need to do is click on the top Wyoming Parcel Fabric. If you just wanted certain layers or whatever, you could select those that you want to copy. We want the entire thing. Not the entire parcel fabric, but the entire data for the area that we have selected. So we click that. Our output parcel fabric is going to go to folder connections. Let's go to training modules, drafts, and in this folder here. Now we want to copy it to, that's right, we're down one more. There we go. So we went under our new exported GDB, went under the Wyoming Parcel Fabric, and created a new parcel fabric name. So we say OK. You can see a process. Previous experiences with this takes about 6-7 seconds. As you can see right there, it completed successfully, 6.79 seconds. So we can close this. Then we need to go back to catalog. We're in our export. We can clear our selection. Go back to our table of contents. Go to properties. Now we want to change our source, because it's still going to that export publish GDB. So we want it to go to the new that we created. So we set data source. You can see it was still there. We want to go to this new GDB that we created, geodatabase. And we want to point it to export. We say OK. Now, you can see through our window selection, we got all these other townships, other second division, first divisions, and other items here. So once we have this created, we can go back here looking at our table of contents. And it still states that it's this here. But what we probably want to do is save this MXD, because still we're using the MXD as export publish. So we're going to File, Save As, and we're just going to say Export MXD for the name, for the file name. And we're going to go back up to where we were in our training modules to save it. Which now we have thing over here. It still show up as the Wyoming parcel fabric, but it's in our export GDB, and now we have an export MXD, as you can see here, and that's what's open since it's the darker, bolder text. So we can, at this point in time, we have actually exported it. We have our smaller database. I'm going to zoom out here so we can see everything that it did create. Still thinking. There we go. And now, just so it's a little more clear, I'm going to go ahead and turn some of this stuff off, such as lines, points, and line points. And turn off historic. We didn't have any to begin with. Now this is what you would want to clean up here. To clean this up, you could do it several different ways. I found the easiest is start with townships. I make nothing but townships selectable. I get my selection tool. We have nothing but townships selected. Click on those two townships, hold Shift key, get the next two townships, right click inside one of them, and I get the delete option, and I just press delete, and then they're gone. This process would follow through with first division, second division, and then this meandered water, which is under special surveys. So until then, I'll show you the final product in a few moments at the end of this video. But that would be cleaning it up. You have your new extracted, exported, copied parcel fabric, however you want to refer to it. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and finish the cleanup, and then I'll come back and show you the end product. As you can see now, after I deleted all the external polygons that I wasn't really concerned with, I cleaned it up. I now have the two townships that I was concerned with extracting or copying. We pretty much chose these two townships because they do have meanders. You do have a bunch of second division, segregation. You have small lots, not normal as closing lots. They've been subdivided more. We have all these tracts that come under special surveys. And you have all this additional lotting due to an elongated township, just to demonstrate that everything will come out. Now there may be something a little strange here. We'll zoom in here. You know, section lines generally don't do that. But this is tract 41 that comes all the way down through here. So looking at the official records, you may go in and decide whether this section line is actually going to cross the tract or not, or that's the way you want it represented, and then this line continuing on down through. It looks to me like there might have been some type of offset when they closed on this tract. So this may be correct, but without looking at the actual official record and deciding how you want it to be represented, I would probably just leave it like this until another reason to change it. So let's go on back to our overall, and that pretty much concludes what we have done so far as extracting or copying a parcel fabric. Now, if you were to copy the entire state parcel fabric, it would not have happened in 7 seconds. It would probably be several hours, potentially, or at least a couple hours for it to actually copy and make it all the way through. I have not actually copied the entire parcel fabric of a state because I haven't really seen much need of it. I mean, I can copy the geodatabase and the MXD and give it to somebody if they need it, so why copy it in this format? I find that this works well. Say you have some new permitting issues coming into a particular township, let's say this one here, since there's no tracks, but even if there were, it could still, if these were all federal lands and a permitting and it's cutting across here and maybe it was lotted, say a right-of-way was actually granted and then it had to be segregated, and so it needed to be updated into the ArcMap GIS for particular reasons, or any new updates that needed to be utilized immediately for display and end user use. Well, you could make those changes in your parcel fabric, do this copy, extract, however you want to refer to it, bring it out, and then have this smaller parcel fabric that in the next video we're going to show how to publish to the CAD NSDI so you can provide it to the end user that needed these updates in a more timely fashion. So with that, we'll end this video until we come back to publishing these 2 townships.